Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another episode of Stars of Big Sky Country, the series that spotlights those that have had an impact at the high school, college, or professional level right here in the 406. I'm exhausted. It's hunting season. I haven't got anything yet, but I have hope that this week we'll turn that around. I am your host, however, and always Richard Tiemann, and this next batch of episodes celebrate it, drop the confetti, sound the alarms. We have our first lady athlete, long overdue, but don't worry, it's our schedules just didn't match up right. But she is one of my favorites. She's a CMR senior, and you're going to know why she's one of my favorites just because of her answers and her attitude and her spunk. She is Rhema, the pace setter. Pace, welcome, Rhema. How you doing?
Good. How are you doing?
Other than tired and sore, I'm good. I'm a little sad. Fall sports has officially come to an end. You're a volleyball player. Well, you're a three-sport athlete. You're a volleyball player, basketball player, track. But last time you and I spoke, you said that basketball may not be, on the schedule for you your senior year. Is that still the plan?
Honestly, I don't know yet. It just
Okay.
kind of depends on my volleyball schedule because I this year I decided that I think volleyball is the way that I want to go for college. So,
Okay, okay. Well, that wasn't the first question. The first question is pineapple on pizza, yes or no, and why?
absolutely not.
Oh,
No.
oh, you're breaking my heart here.
Pineapple fruit does not deserve to be on pizza unless it's a fruit pizza, which is a dessert, which is fine.
Which
But
is a dessert. Okay, wow.
yeah,
Good reason. Please continue.
you've never had like dessert pizza before?
I've had the dessert pizza with the like the swirl, and marshmallow, I think was the topping. It was like a s'mores pizza. There we go. A s'mores pizza somewhere. That's the only dessert pizza I've ever had. I've never had a fruit dessert pizza. That
It's
sounds way
so
too
good.
healthy.
Yes, okay. Basically, my mom has always made this for me since I was little, and it's just like this huge, like think of this huge like sugar cookie with frosting on it, and then all you do is just like put like blueberries and like strawberries, like any fruit that you want, kiwi, like it's so good. Chef's kiss.
Wow. Okay. Okay. What is the perfect pizza topping? Combo or single topping? Like you're pick like you've got money to burn on a Friday night and you're like, I want pizza. What is your go-to?
Oh, definitely chicken bacon ranch all the way.
Wow. Okay. All
Mhm.
right.
Good protein, and it's the flavor just awesome. It's amazing.
So chicken bacon ranch, yes. Pineapple or any other fruit, no,
No.
unless it's a dessert pizza. Okay. All
Yes.
right.
Yes.
Oh, we'll have to agree to disagree because I love pineapple on pizza, but that's okay. The real icebreaker, as I'm sure that you're aware, is a question that always merits a great and unique response, and that's what is it like to be you, Rhema Pace?
It's definitely obviously different from everybody else because everybody else like has their own life. But for me, it's kind of just like a constant state of just like wanting to be better and like being the best version of myself that I can be. Like whether it's, staying after practice and getting some extra shots up or some extra digs or going in on my free time when I could just be like hanging out with my friends. But or just like in the summer especially like I could just be home or hanging out with my friends or just working, but instead I'm doing like travel teams to like help me better my craft.
Okay, okay. Well, I mean, I can't knock somebody who wants to improve on what they feel they're already, good at, but maybe not good enough in their own mind. It's difficult to explain to people sometimes. They're like, "You're so good at what you do," and you know instantly like what you could always improve on and be
Oh
better
yeah.
at. So there's some people that are like that, and I love the compliment, I really do, and the confidence that they have in me and what I do. But in minds like ours, we know instantly, like, oh, I could improve on this. I could have been better at this or
Yes.
whatever. So that's awesome. I love young, hungry athletes because
Yes.
I think you guys have such a bright future. So speaking of future. We're going to talk about that a little bit further along in the episode. But the here and now, we're stars of Big Sky Country, and you are one of the stars that lights up that sky. I've had the privilege and pleasure of knowing you and watching you compete over the last 3 years. You're one of a very small handful of people, athletes in the area that I've gotten to see from the start. And I remember, I think it was track, and they're like, "Yeah, Rhema Pace, she's going to be something." And she's a three-sporter too. So, what impact has living in Great Falls or just being in Montana had on you as far as shaping you into the person that you are?
I think it's definitely so much different from all the states that I've been to before, especially like sports wise. Like coming here and then going to like say Texas, like it's so completely different, like sports wise. Like in other states, the play is very, very fast. So like when I come back, it's just very different. And like that's not a bad thing or whatever, but it's honestly so good to like know both ways. Like slow all the way to fast or fast to slow. And just like not so much just like slow, but not as fast, like medium pace, honestly. But I feel like as an athlete, you should be able to play at all levels and adjust to all those.
Okay. So what other states have you lived in and played sports in, and then what ultimately brought you guys to settle down here in Great Falls?
So I was originally born in San Antonio, Texas, but we moved here when I was about two. So, because my dad is an Air Forceman,
Gotcha.
but so
Okay.
I haven't really been anywhere else. But my sophomore year, I believe, I went out my sophomore year to Texas the whole summer,
Mm.
and it was for basketball. And that whole time, we really were just like either in the gym or we were lifting, and it was such a different like it was just like something to get used to. And honestly, it was just the next level, and it was just nice playing up there and just being like, oh, like this is what different levels are. And it was just nice being like being able to experience that and see like how I can personally like get better and what I need to work on the next level.
Okay. So you mentioned, being in Texas and seeing just the kind of the different tempo that they go with there. And, three sport athlete, you're triple jump, basketball, and volleyball. But basketball is the biggest question mark. Did your summer spent doing the basketball like have any impact on that, or is it just the love for volleyball? Like, walk me through what has brought you to this kind of crossroads or fork in the road your senior year.
Yeah. So basketball has always been like my go-to. Like
Yeah.
since I was little, it's always been in the family. We just like very much would just like come home and just all talk about like the game and just like our thoughts about it and like what we could have changed, and just watching games upstairs in college and being like, oh, you should have made this move, or oh, you should have done that, with like our basketball knowledge. But the more I just started to play volleyball, I just like started to make more of a love for it. And I just like kind of realized like, oh, like I'm not bad at this sport either. Like, oh, this is kind of fun. And like I was just like, maybe I can work to be better at it. So I did. And yeah, like the way that I feel about basketball has always been there, but then it started to shift over to volleyball. So now I'm just exploring that more, I guess. So
I'm good at this sport too. I should try it.
I try to be.
That's great. Yeah, it's funny how things will happen like that. There's a lot of stories throughout history in sports about the people that we believe are great at their sport. It's like, well, you should have seen their brother or their sister, or you think they're good at this. I mean, we all thought they were going to be this sport, and then they decided this was their passion. Like sometimes I have to take a step back and realize that we may have not seen like as far as the best of the best, we may not have even seen the best that, the world had to offer because people like you came to a crossroads and they're like, I'm good at this, but I'm really more focused and invested in this, and I want to be as good at this as I was at this. So it's just crazy to see. But I whatever you do, I will love it. I will be there. I will be sad if you're not stepping out onto the court this winter for crosstown basketball because crosstown volleyball was so much fun, and obviously basketball is the big one in winter time. But
Mm,
I mean, this is your senior year. You got to do you. What has
yeah,
your senior year been like as far as I mean, obviously decisions is one of them, and I'm sure the advice and the decision making and everything coming from all angles, it gets
yeah.
overwhelming. How have you handled that?
Uh, Honestly, I kind of just like come home at the end of the day and I just like talk to my family. Like that's where I always go because they know me inside and out. And it's just like they've seen me since I was just a little one. So it's just like nice to go to somebody else that like sees my life because I could be looking at it by one way and not seeing like the whole picture. Or maybe I am seeing the whole picture and they tell me to just look at this like one minuscule thing. And I'm just like, oh, like I didn't think about it that way. And just kind of like another thing that I like try to do as like myself is just like really focus on honestly like what I want. Like how is this making me feel mentally, physically? Is this bettering my mental health or is it worsening it? Like can my body take any more of this or is it good? Like just like putting in all those factors and not like trying to leave one out because honestly like that's such a big decision for me at least in my life is just like trying to figure out what my next step is and just honestly to just like praying about it because like everything is in God's plan. So
Yeah, senior year for me, there was so much going on. One, you're just worried about graduating, right? You're like wanting to keep your grades up, and I was in band. I didn't have three sports to worry about, but I chose the music path, and it was a great path in my mind to choose. I wouldn't change it at all. But there's so many different routes you can go, and I remember somebody telling me one day. High school graduation is for your parents. College graduation is for you. And it
yes.
really stuck with me because yeah, absolutely. Like because you're going to figure it out and things are going to change. Now, there were people that I knew. A close friend of mine, Tony, he knew he wanted to be a doctor. And so he had his grades up. He was our valedictorian. He went and got into Pepperdine, studied medicine in Germany abroad for a
Wow.
bit. And now he is a very well-known doctor that has a practice in Seattle. And I applaud the people that know what they want to do, have a plan to get there, and see it all the way through. That's a level of commitment that I can't even like fathom really. But then I knew the guys that went to trade school the second that they could get away from actual school and worked on cars or did welding or woodwork or whatever. And once they graduated, they went and started working at a Jiffy Lube and worked their way up to management. And once they saved up enough money, they opened up their own auto detailing shop or mechanic shop. And it's like, I applaud them too, because I think that's fantastic.
Yeah.
They figured it out along the way. And for me, my path, changed so many times that,
Mm-hmm.
I can't bring myself to tell people like, oh, you should do this or hey, consider this, because I know for me, that I had so many voices from different directions that I
Yeah.
eventually just had to like try things until I figured out like, oh, I like this. And oh, hey, I like this. Like three sport athletes and people with hobbies are really one and the same because you can be
Mhm.
good at more than one thing and you can enjoy being good at more than one thing. So whatever you do, like I just, enjoy it. Like that's the one thing I would say.
Yeah, I totally agree. And like the thing about life is just like it's so short. Like
Yes.
just yesterday I was in like kindergarten at Valley View. Like I was just like seeing some of my old teachers today and they're just like it's so crazy because like literally in a blink of an eye, like you're already graduating, Rhema. And I was like, no, I know. Like it's so crazy. It's just so wild because like all this time like passes by and you're just like, where did it go? And the thing is too, is just like I said earlier, is just like life is too short to like only keep yourself at one thing. Like always try new things because you never know. Like you might like this or you might like that. And then for the future, maybe you didn't like that. And like I think everything eventually like teaches a lesson about like who you are in the end game.
This episode of Stars of Big Sky Country is brought to you by Russell Country Federal Credit Union, where they believe in helping you and your children achieve financial success while building a better community. They want to be your financial home, so stop in at their Great Falls or Fairfield office and get started on your new account today.
I
What?
have to know what instrument you played though, real quick.
All right, so that's a bit of a journey in itself. So, true story. The junior high band came to the grade school when we were in fifth grade to get us all signed up because band started sixth grade.
Mhm.
And me and my two other friends, we wanted to be drummers. Like we were like, we're going to be drummers. Except there's not drums on the sign up sheet, it's percussion. And two of the three of us didn't know what percussion meant. So he did, Kenny, and he went on to be a great drummer. He leads his church's worship band, which we will stream, from our home here. And so he plays guitar, drums, he writes, I mean, he ended up becoming a phenomenal musician. But me and my other buddy, Jeremy, we did not know what percussion meant. So he picked tuba, I picked trombone, and I thought the slide thingy was cool. So I started on trombone. I was the shortest kid in my class, so trying to reach out to fifth and sixth position was not happening. And so our band teacher in seventh grade said, "Why don't you try baritone?" I was like, "I don't know what that is." So it's a three valve, like a trumpet, but it's
Yep.
it's baritone. And so I played that all the way up through my junior year. I was drum major for the marching band, and then junior year they said, "Hey, if you're looking for a scholarship in music, we need a bassoon player," which was the biggest mistake of my life. Don't
Oh,
ever play bassoon. I hated that instrument with a fiery passion, and I did not get a scholarship for playing it. So but then I did finally get a drum set, taught myself sophomore, junior, senior year, got on the drum line at Eastern Washington, and then became a drummer in my first garage band. And that's one of the crossroads I came to in life was
mhm.
my band teacher in junior high was so inspiring to me because every concert we had, the parents and kids just loved it. Like you could see their passion for music, like coming out and everything. And we're like, we want that.
Mhm.
And so basically, I went to Eastern to become a music teacher. And while I was there, I got my first garage band and I really, really enjoyed it. And so I went back and visited him and I said, "Hey, so I'm in this garage band and I'm not sure if I want to teach music anymore. Like I'm having some really weird thoughts about it." And he goes, "Oh man, you're in a band." He's like, "I will tell you this. You can teach music at any point in your life, but there
Mhm.
will be a time that you are too old to be in a band and travel." He's like, "Being in a
Yes.
band and traveling were some of the best years of my life." And I didn't even know he was in a band like that. So I'm like being
Yeah.
blown away right now. And I'm like, "Okay." He's like, "So if you're having second thoughts about teaching music and you want to be in a band, go be in a band and have fun. Just do your thing." So I
Yeah.
dropped out before I flunked out, and because college is tough like that when they have 9 a.m. math classes. But I went and I got into a band, and then another band, and then we toured and we opened for bands that I grew up listening to in junior high, and it was a great time. So you go from being a musician to being a sports person. That's a whole other story, but obviously
Definitely bad, but
but a prime example of like when I talk to you guys like Mason Crawl and Riley Collette and all of
mhm.
you guys that are seniors now, and I'm not going to be somebody that tries to force feed you what I think you should do because my experience is not a prime example of like I had this idea and I saw it all the way through. No, like I let life
Mm,
happen basically.
yeah, 100%. And I think especially for athletes is like you need to have different hobbies because at the end of the day, like the ball's gonna stop. Like you're not gonna forever till like your 60s be like playing ball. I mean, you totally could. Like kudos to you. But at the end of the day, like the ball does drop. Like I have to go out and find things that I like because sometimes there's points where like for my mental health that I need to take a step back from sports. So then it's like, what do I do now? And that's just like where I find a bunch of like different hobbies because like you can't just find your identity in the sport that you do.
Yeah, yeah, there's so many one-off things that will help you kind of figure out what you want to do and maneuver you down whichever path. And some turns and twists are going to seem really out of left field, but they're, like you said, there's a lesson to be learned in there. And I think that you're
Yeah.
beyond your years for realizing that. And one thing that I want to know from you though is, obviously you've still got a whole two-thirds of a year left. Basketball, will you, won't you? But what inspires you to keep going and to improve on already being good at one thing to be great and then be the best at it?
Ugh, okay. For me, I'm just super competitive. And like if I'm not the best at something, I personally like give myself a talking to. It's just like for me, I I just strive to be the best. Like I feel like being the best is already something that motivates me because like I want to be the top scorer or I want to be the person that gets the most digs. And like for me to be better for myself is also being better for my and like what's better than not only being better for yourself but also being better for somebody else.
Yeah, I I have a bit of that myself there, but with a bit of a caveat. So mine was like I think a lot of us that have either been around sports or in sports, we're just uber competitive no matter what. Like if it's a race to the front door or whoever gets to the car first, right? Like it's just there's little mini competitions that we throw ourselves in just about every day. But for
Yeah.
me, when it came to being in a band, I knew that there were going to be drummers better than me because I wasn't technically sound. I was self-taught. There were guys that were drummers from sixth grade, and I wasn't. I picked it up and I was like, I want to do this though, like, and I want to be good at it. But when it came for us to have a show and we were on the bill, I would tell myself and tell the band, I'd be like, look, there's going to be drummers tonight that are better than me, but no one is going to outperform me. Like, I just want you guys to know that right now. No one will outperform me on that stage, I guarantee it. And so that was kind of one of the things that I always had is if I couldn't be the best at one thing, I at least wanted to be the best at something
Yeah.
kind of parallel to it.
Yeah, 100%. Like sometimes I just freak out, like, oh my gosh, like people are gonna watch me play and they're gonna think that I suck after one mistake, or like my coaches are gonna bench me or something like that. But at the end of the day, I really just have to think about it and just be like, who are you playing for? Like obviously myself, but like a lot of the time is like before every game, like I always write it on my wrist, like who do you play for? Who do you play for? And like obviously the big man up top, but like also myself, because like at the end of the day, like I'm not playing these sports for these people that are watching me. They don't even know me. Like I know myself, like what I want to do, and that's the thing that matters the most. But sometimes I freak out too much because like obviously when I make a mistake, then I talk to myself. I'm like, what are you doing? These are from God. Like those are the ones that got me to where I am. Like obviously, yes, I work on those, but like at the same time, like I never would have had them without him. So
Yeah, that's a solid take to have, and it's very refreshing to hear that from so many of you guys. Both CMR, Great Falls High, Belt, Cascade, wherever. There's a really good core group of you guys leading the underclassmen, and it's a very, like I said, very refreshing feeling. So that's the serious question. I feel like we've had fun with every question that we've had though, but we do have some fun ones. First one is that okay? You're a wrestler or you play baseball. What is your go-to entrance song? Like, what do you want to come out to?
oh my gosh, that's so hard. For my entrance song, I would definitely say 3500 by Travis Scott.
Okay. Haven't heard it, but I'll have to listen to it. I'm sure it's bumping. So
Yeah,
if
it
that's
is.
what is that's what the kids say. I know I'm trying not to age myself. Who has I asked this with Mason, and I feel like I have to be very careful with asking it to
Oh
the
my
girls'
gosh, I
side.
saw that. I can't wrap my part that. I can't do that.
The messiest locker, you can't do it?
Is it who has the messiest ball? I feel like I'm gonna be like, they're gonna see this, they're gonna be like, why would you say that? And I'm gonna be like, I can't rat out my team like that. I can't do it.
Okay, okay, that's fair. That's fair. So Rayma is a true team player. She's not going to rat out her team with messiest locker. Quirkiest pregame thing that you do, whether it's like mixing matching socks or same undershirt, like I don't know. What is your quirkiness? You know, how does it come through on game day?
Um, Sometimes I pop in a really good fresh gum while I'm warming up, and then immediately when the game starts, I throw it away. I like it helps me focus during a warm up, but I have to throw it away when I like get on the court because I feel like that's when I like really need to lock in by like talking to my teammates or like yelling like, "Oh, like let's go," and like stuff like that. And like, yes, I'm talking with gum in my mouth right now, but it's it's so much different on a court, I swear.
But you can't Pete Carroll that stuff where you're on the sideline just like, let's go, let's go.
Yes, yes. I can't do it. I can't do it. Not on a court.
I honestly thought when you said gum, I thought it was going to be that you chew the same piece every warm up and then
Oh,
you like save it somewhere.
that's disgusting. Oh my gosh.
I was worried about you for a minute there. I was like, she's going to tell me
Uh,
she chews the same piece of gum every warm up. Ugh.
I low key feel so wasteful, but it's just like as long as I have a good game, it's fine. So
Okay. So you don't have to say a name, but is there anyone with like a quirkier pregame thing that you have seen or experienced? It doesn't have to be on the same team, like CMR can be on a team that you've played with or that you've played against and just been like, that's a little odd.
I can't think of anybody.
Oh,
Oh, well, no. Like I no. There's nobody that I can really think of. I haven't came encounter with somebody that odd yet, so
okay. Now you're a senior and you know this is the year to be super proud of everything that you've done. But looking back, what's a moment of sheer embarrassment that you're hoping as soon as you graduate gets wiped clean from the record books?
oh my gosh. I have too many. I have way too many. Um, just to start out simple, like probably like missing a serve because like all eyes are on you, or when I'm like missing a free throw. But the worst of all is when I airball three. That's probably the worst. That is probably the worst 100%. So yeah.
Well, you've wrapped up your senior season as libero for CMR Rustlers volleyball. That's where your passion is right now. You're going to figure out basketball, and then we'll see about the triple jump for track and field. But
Yeah.
you know, the big question that we end every episode with is obviously, you know, what is next for Rhema Pace as far as if you've decided on your college or which sport you could be featured in when the time comes to finally sign on that line. But what is next for Rhema Pace?
Honestly, all my options are still clear. Like, yes, there's volleyball, but yes, there's also basketball. And I'm just like, especially since it is my senior year, I'm just trying to keep like all options open, all options open. But right now it's honestly just undecided. I know for a fact I want to go out of state because I just want to leave the nest. I feel like there's a lot more experiences out there than just Montana.
There is. We have not lived in places that we have wanted to live, and it's been very interesting. But every place that we've lived has been a different learning experience
Mhm.
culturally. Sioux Falls, South Dakota, Omaha, Nebraska, and now Great Falls, Montana. Coming from Spokane, it's just so interesting to see the similarities and differences. But yes, that is definitely one piece of advice if people ask me for it, you know, as a senior in high school, that I will openly give them. And that is if you have the chance to get out of your comfort zone and go experience life, even
Yeah.
for 3 or 4 years somewhere else, please by all means do it. I mean, just me going to college, that was the start of me really coming out of my shell. And then, you know, you get to experience people from so many different places now, you know, you're mixing and mingling with all of them. And it was just a great eye opener for me. But, you know, the, being a drummer definitely helped. Now all of a sudden, like all the girls that I would kind of look at from across the classroom are starting to look at me in a different way because I'm a drummer. So, you know, there's all kinds of different college experiences, I guess. But you know, you're gonna find the one that works best for you.
Mhm.
If you end up staying somewhere because of somebody that you like, don't feel bad about it. That's part of life too. People will make those decisions because they feel like that's where their heart now is. It was in sports and now it's do I see a future with this person? And that's okay. Like there is no wrong answer when it comes to graduating high school and experiencing life at,
Mhm.
whatever is next for you. So I'm very excited to see what you do. Like I said, if you don't play basketball, I will miss seeing you out on the court, but I do hope that when it comes to Crosstown, if you're not on the court, you're in the student section firing them up because those are some of the most important parts of those games as well.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that is another fantastic episode of Stars of Big Sky Country. Our first and our first lady, long overdue, but a lovely lady at that. Rhema Pace. Like I said, she's funny, she's spunky, and she's getting it figured out. But hey, sky's the limit for you. I cannot thank you enough for your time. You have been fantastic.
Thank you for having me.
It's been an honor and a privilege. So, ladies and gentlemen, don't forget to check us out on YouTube. Hit the subscribe button. We're available in podcast form on all the major platforms. So, until next time, for the pace setter, Rhema Pace, I'm the team man, Richard Teeman, and you can catch us among the stars of Big Sky Country. We'll see you next time.